Welcome back to my channel, everyone. Thank you for visiting. I just want to give you a little story time on where my husband and I lived before we went to the projects. Okay. We was always in North Carolina, even though we lived out of North Carolina for a few years, but this is in North Carolina. Well, there was a house, a big two-story house. We found out who owned it, but it need work. So the man that owned the house told us, said, well, I'm not going to put any money in it, but if y'all willing to live there, you won't have any rent for the first year. And my husband knew how to do the work. We had four sons. Like I said, we had four sons. So my husband was like, we talked it over, me and him talked it over and we had family members, we had family members that told us they would help us. So it had a deep well, no water, that meant no water bill. It was a two-story house, but it only had one bathroom. But the living room was real big and spacious. The kitchen had a pantry to it. There was another little room that had to be in the dining room. It didn't really have heat, y'all, because it was an older home built I don't know, like this house we living in now was built back in 1907 or 1903 or something. So it might have been somewhere back then. But the people that owned it was a doctor from Virginia. And it was his family homestead. So I don't know how long his family lived there or anything like that. And it had a little shed in the backyard and everything, and had a lot of room where the children could run and play. I had area where my husband put me a clothesline. So we had a deep freezer, but I think we ended up having to put that on the porch, because those rooms, the only room that was real spacious was the living room. And it had a fireplace. And y'all know fireplace don't really keep stuff warm. The heat goes up the chimney. And the walls needed work and everything like that. So we stayed there. I hung curtains, fixing it up, had it nice. It was, I think, only 2 bedrooms upstairs. It might have been 3 bedrooms upstairs, I'm not sure. I know there was a bedroom that my daughter had, and my grandbaby waking up. Hold on. He went back to sleep. But anyway, it was a spacious house, and there was 1 bedroom downstairs that me and my husband used for the master bedroom. But the only reason, the bedroom, you walked out of the bedroom into the bathroom. The bathroom didn't have a shower. It had a tub, had an area next to the sink where the washing machine went, and had the commode. We didn't worry about that, but because we had a home that was big enough for our whole family, and the children could run and play. They knew people where they were going to be going to school with and everything. We found out, went and enrolled them in school and everything, and we stayed there for a while trying to figure out something to heat the house with. So my husband would make a fire in the fireplace, and then some kind of way, he came up with, there was a little furnace thing where he put in the dining room. So that kept it pretty warm. Y'all, that house, sometime we would take newspaper and slide it in the side next to the door frame or the window frame, and you could slide that newspaper right on out. But and we lived there. We were all together. We were happy. We were going to church. Our children made friends. We made friends with a few of the neighbors around us, and and getting on and on. And like the man said, we lived there a year with no rent. But what happened was, even though we put up with the cold winters and everything, putting fire in the fireplace and having heat for the kids upstairs, or having heat for. We had a few electric heaters here and there. Yeah, electric bill at some time did get high, but the Lord blessed us to pay it. But we were striving, doing all we can. We kept saying, we're gonna be able to move from this to something else. So, and then I noticed as I would wash and use the sink, and it had an old-timey sink in the kitchen, and I enjoyed that. And using the water and everything, the sewage was coming up like through the shower and everything. Yes. And it was doing that so much, and I kept telling my husband, I said, if this sewage starts coming up in the kitchen, we're going to have to go. Cross-contamination. You don't want where you wash your dishes with sewage coming up. You don't even want where you take your shower coming up. Come to find out, what we didn't know was this house did not have a septic system. No, it did not have a septic system. The man ran, and it was out in the country, so he could get away. And I don't know how long the house was there, and he operated this house like this. Cause I don't think no one had stayed in that house for maybe 5 years or more before we moved to it. He knew the people that owned the farmland that was adjoined to his property, which he might have owned it, I'm not sure. He had long rows of sewage pipe and everything that ran from the house to the field. And they dug like trenches, area where the water, the liquid, the solid sewage and everything could drain off into. But what made it back up, it got clogged. So my husband, and then at one point, the deep well needed to be dug deeper. One of my husband's friends that was smaller than my husband, he went down in there, inside that well, and fixed it so we could get water. I don't know whether he done something that made the water be down deeper. So I don't know what he done. All I know, we was able to get more water because the water didn't have any pressure. Got to the point, didn't have any pressure. But getting back to where the sewage was draining off from, my husband, I think, and maybe our older boys, because at that time, I don't know if they weren't teenagers, but they were big enough to help do work, what I'm getting to. And maybe some of his family and friends came and dug it, got it so it could drain a little more. So I kept saying, we're going to have to find somewhere to go because we can't keep living like this. And he said, yeah, we got to do something. So that's when someone told us about the projects, where we ended up going to the projects in. And what I did, I confided in them, and because they always ask you why you want to live here. And I told them, how the raw sewage was coming up through the pipes. And we had no place else to go. We couldn't move in with my mother-in-law. But when you got a house full of kids, you don't want to inconvenience people. And we did stay there at one point with the kids. But so when we left the house, we told the man that owned the house, so look. And I think our year might have been coming up to being right there at, that year's time he gave us to live there without paying rent. So we lived there, and then when we went to put the application in for the projects, and we told them why we wanted to move and how many kids we had and what was going on and everything, and they was like, no, that's not sanitary. She said, I'm going to see if I can get you and your family approved right away. Y'all don't need to be living there like that. So we kept it. we kept the, we stayed there and doing the best we could. I didn't run the washing machine because I noticed that during the times when I know the water from the washing machine gonna make it. So I washed as less so we could get by with. And you know, boys most times don't like to take those baths anyway. And the shower needed to be replaced because it, you know, you could tell it was old and the bottom was rusted. You know, we put one of those things in the bottom of the drain and everything. And we had everything looking neat. Everything was clean and everything. But we just couldn't live there like that. So then, I don't know how long it took those people at the project to approve us. But when we got that approval letter saying they were approving us for a 4-bedroom, bath and a half unit, and it was a standalone brick house, honey, we ran over there and we signed those papers. So the next video where I'm talking about the projects, you know, tell you more about it. So yeah, all this is leading up to the house that where we are now. Okay, so this is the second big home we lived in that the Lord had blessed us with. And don't despise small beginning, y'all, because you got to start somewhere. We had that faith. We knew that the Lord was going to come through. And y'all, he did. He did. And I thank him. So please like, share, and comment. And if you have any questions, let me know. All right, to the next one. Bye. And if I can remember anything else about when we lived there, let's see. We did have us some little dogs while we were there. I did have a dog. We had a dog named Raoul, a German Shepherd. Oh, and when a dog come there, I take possession of it. It's mine. And they say, you always get dog crazy. I did. I named him Raoul. And I don't know. I'm trying to remember if he stayed in the house. I think he did. And then another dog took up there, y'all, a little white dog. I don't know what it was, like a sandy colored dog. And I remember on I Dream of Jeannie, she had a dog or something named Jin Jin. So I started calling that little dog Ginger, and we would call her Jin Jin for short. Then I had another dog, I think it was a beetle, and I named him Clint for Clint Eastwood. Yes, I did now. Because back in those days, when I was watching Rawhide and stuff, I loved me some Clint Eastwood. Because that Roddy, y'all, but that's another video. All right, until the next video, stay blessed, stay prayed up, and give the Lord the praise. Until the next one back.